Task-based language teaching, TBLT, has a long history in general education, second language education, and second language acquisition. The strongest motivator of tasks are communicative language teaching, the general education principle of experiential learning, that is, learn by doing, and SLA research on developmental patterns. There are as many different definitions and proposed uses of tasks as there are researchers. Some researchers and teacher educators would have tasks supplement a grammatical syllabus, while others have criticized these to be structure-trapping tasks and oil and water combinations. Teacher-educator N.S. Prabhu was the first to implement task-based teaching. He is a hero for his innovative efforts with children ages 8 to 13 in a developing country. There were 30 to 60 students in every classroom. Prabhu led the Communicational Teaching Project from 1979 to 1984 in southern India to explore a way of teaching that fit his principles. He wanted a syllabus that was not grammatically based. Prabhu's principles are very Krashen-esque, and his method very similar to natural approach. Prabhu and Krashen share the idea that acquisition is a subconscious process of acquiring a subconscious knowledge of complex and abstract rules. But Prabhu only became aware of Krashen's model 2 years into the project. Tasks gradually emerged. Prabhu's version of tasks was one in which students were given information, then by thinking and teacher support would arrive at a non-linguistic outcome. This led to a two-step procedure of teacher-guided tasks followed by an independently completed task, progressing from the oral to written channel and preferring reasoning gap tasks, which required students to infer, decide, and construct something based on given info. For example, given descriptions of families, infer who is younger. Given a map, decide on the best route from one place to another. Given travel needs, construct an itinerary. Tasks were all they did in Prabhu's project. Compared to structure-based classes, the task-based classes did better on proficiency-based and task-based testing, and did develop grammatical competence from a purely meaning-focused approach, while also showing that communication can happen without form-focused instruction. SLA researcher Michael Long published a paper in 1985 that gets credited as the first to propose task-based language teaching as the central unit for determining learner needs, syllabus content and sequencing, focusing on form amidst communication, and assessment. Long uses the term tasks in the non-technical sense to refer to things people do in everyday life. Bill Van Patten, hereafter BVP, uses tasks with a capital T to refer to communication that has a cognitive informational purpose. In 1995, he used to call these information-based tasks or information exchange tasks. In the prototypical input-oriented BVP task, students are trying to figure out how active their weekends were compared to the rest of the class. Students choose which activities they did in the weekend from a list, are provided with questions to ask a partner, rate themselves and the partner on a scale of 1 very sedentary to 5 very active, and then share the results with the class and calculate the class average. Later, comparisons may be made to the teacher, other classes, and other age groups. The final purpose in a BVP task is often to make comparisons or make decisions. It's not the act of exchanging information that is the task purpose. The purpose is to do something with that new information in order to learn something about the world or students in the class. Therefore, BVP tasks would have at least 2 steps: exchange info and use info. While BVP conceptualizes tasks as a way to give language use a purpose, I like to also think of them in terms of experiential learning. In other words, you do and learn, followed by another cycle of do and learn. Experiential learning is considered best practice for learning information in any subject matter. I think it should be used in the communicative classroom because the goal is to learn some informational content rather than practice language or learn about language. Therefore, I would frame tasks as what students learn about the world. In fact, this perspective is more aligned with a communicative approach because it gets away from thinking about language teaching. Teachers who adopt a comprehension-based approach would use input-oriented tasks as acquisition opportunities and/or as assessments. Students may start an input-oriented task by rating agreement with statements that the teacher has read aloud or that they read in a text. Students can still engage in group work and get information from other students if the questions are provided. The student then asking the question is not producing output, since he's not creating his own meaning. The last step involves some type of non-linguistic outcome, for example, rating, ranking, grouping, comparing, etc.